Have you ever wondered why it often feels like you're pushing, you're forcing, you're perhaps overthinking your content when everyone else around you seems to be flowing? Now, when this happens, there's a quiet frustration that really bubbles beneath the surface, which leads to constant second guessing and the sense that maybe you're missing something with your content. But what if the problem isn't your ability, but how you feel about your content? In this episode, we're going to explore why content can feel heavy, where that weight is actually coming from, and how to return to a way of creating that feels more natural, more grounded, and more like you. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to this week's episode of the Content with Heart podcast. I hope you are having a beautiful week. I certainly am. This week was my birthday, as well as the second anniversary of the launch of my book, The Power of Content. I still have to pinch myself that I've got a book out in the world with my name on it as the author. It's pretty surreal. But to celebrate this week, I decided to reduce the price of both my ebook and my paper book versions by almost 50%. So go and check out the links in the show notes so that you can get your copy or go and buy one for your biz bestie. It's kind of timely, really, that I should be recording this episode right now because the old "it's too hard, so why bother" creating content mantra is starting to creep back into my own internal dialogue. And I find this happens when I feel disillusioned or I feel bored with my business. So that awareness helps me to come back and ground myself in the reasons why I actually create content and why I record the podcast and why I want to connect with you. So I know from experience, and you may be feeling this right now as well, that when content feels hard, your consistency drops. You feel less likely to actually want to sit down and create content. And when your consistency drops, then that impacts your visibility. Your visibility drops as well. And when your visibility drops, growth slows, which then brings you back full circle to the fact that content often feels hard and pointless to create. But when this happens, I really want you to go deeper than tactics, deeper than what should I be doing now? Because this isn't about posting more. It's not about creating more content. It's really about how you feel when you're building your business and sitting down and creating that content. Content isn't meant to feel like pressure or performance. I know that it can. I really do know that it can, but it shouldn't be feeling like that. And it shouldn't feel like something you have to be doing or that you should be doing. It's really meant to feel like, and especially for heart-led entrepreneurs like yourself, to feel like connection and expression, which I know are two things that you are built to do and you are so good at doing it. So before we dive into some solutions and ideas on how to make your content feel less heavy, it's really important to understand the difference between the effort that you put in and how easy it is for you. So effort isn't bad. We need effort to make things work, to dream, to build, to create the content. But too much of a focus on effort is often a signal that maybe you're working outside of your time, energy, and resources. And on the flip side, ease doesn't mean no work at all. It means that the work feels clean and it feels clear and you have a direction that you want to go. So if you think about the times when content has felt easy for you, what was different? What was different compared to now? Is it the level of energy that you have? Is it your clarity? Is it timing, expectations? What is it that actually made it feel different? And when you know what amount of effort needs to be put into the ease that you want to feel and to get out of it, then content can become so much more lighter. Content might also feel hard for you right now because you're doing the right things, but you're doing them at the wrong time. So not all content is right for every season. Posting on socials may not be right for you if you feel drained by the platform. There are times when I have given up social media because it felt hard, because it felt draining, because it felt too difficult to be there to consume the content and then create the content. So just know you don't need to do all of the things all of the time. Not all tactics are right for you and right for your business. So Producing a weekly piece of core content is going to be a difficult tactic if your business is a side hustle or if you can't afford the time that it actually takes to produce and distribute it. And what you're being told by others that you should be doing in order to be successful may actually be great advice to follow, but just not for where you are right now. So, really recognize and lean into the current season. I acknowledge that this is so hard. And I remember back about 6.5 years ago when we first got our crazy dingo dog, and she was so much work. She was really quite full on, like even more full on than the usual puppy. And it fell to me to deal with her simply because I was around most of the time. And do you know what? That made me feel angry. I felt really, really angry, so angry that it was taking away precious time from working on my business. But now, in hindsight, I can see it was a season. It was a season. And the time and the energy and the love that I was able to give her has made her the beautiful dog that she is today. So just know that if you're feeling like that at the moment, if you're feeling like you don't have time, that you're angry, that you don't have the time, there's something stopping you, it's not going to last forever. I promise you. Let that season really guide your content choices. Lean into that idea of minimum viable content. And you can go back to episode 167 if you want to know more about MVC and how it changed my life and my approach to my business. But think about what's that minimum amount of content that you can create to maintain a level of visibility that meets your current objectives. Okay, so now that you understand the concept of effort versus ease and the fact that not every type of content is right for every season, I want you, please, to let go. Let go of the pressure of actioning every piece of expert advice you come across or doing content the right way. Now, it's highly likely that you've absorbed lots of rules from people, from experts, from coaches, on the best types of content to create and the best way to actually create it. And that is so understandable. We have this innate yearn for learning. So we want to absorb all the information out there possible. But when you are trying to apply these rules, they can actually end up creating an invisible pressure on your content process because it's not honoring who you are as a content creator. And this really leads to then like second guessing what you're doing and overcomplicating everything and constantly wondering whether you're doing it right, or conversely, blaming yourself because it's not working the way that you want it to work, despite everything that you've been told to do and all of the box checking that you're doing. But please shake it off. Shake off that need to get it right, to get it perfect. And I'm not here to tell you to unfollow everyone that you're following and only listen to me. Far from it. That's not what I want. I think it's really important to get a range of ideas and perspectives when you're in business from a whole heap of different people. But what I am saying is understand that not every method or every tactic or every strategy or every plan will work for you. Separate your voice from that expert noise out there, and that is when your content is going to feel easier. So this week, choose one rule that you've been told in relation to creating content to release this week. So it might be something like I should be posting every day, or I should be posting trial reels once a week, whatever it is, whatever that rule is that you've absorbed. I want you to replace it with the thought of what feels true for me right here. What feels true for me right here? Is it doing those things? And it may be, and that's great, and that's fine. But if it's not, think about what feels sustainable for me and what feels more intentional. And that may change your approach to the way that you feel about content. Now, I also want you to think about being aware of an energy mismatch. Now, this is really where we focus on the minimum viable content concept. So content doesn't feel hard and it doesn't feel heavy when it matches your energy, your time, and your capacity. Interesting thought, isn't it? When you're trying to create at a level that isn't supported by your current reality, it just leads to frustration or burnout. And we've all been there, right? We want to do all of the things that all of the people have told us, but we just don't have the time and we don't have the capacity to do everything. And you know what? That's not what business or creating content should be about. It should be about fun. It should be about connection. It should be about being real. So, really accept that current season without judgment. I know it's so hard to do. I really do. Because when you're in it, it feels like the worst thing. But just know that when you come out the other side of it, things are going to change. Let go of that idea of ideal output expectations, right? And once again, I know it's hard because you want to reach that goal. You want that income. You want those clients. You want more money, but it shouldn't be at the expense of your health, your well-being, and your happiness and the joy that you bring to what you do and the outcome that you give your clients. So instead, think about, what do I love to create? Where is it easy for me to be visible? And what content would move my business forward right now? 3 important questions when it comes to minimum viable content. And then just really design your content around those 3 answers. So it may mean dropping something for a while. Like I dropped social media for quite a long time and I'm only just starting to get back into it. Keep it simple, make it repeatable, make it doable for you, because when it's simple, repeatable, and doable, it's easier and you're more likely to feel in the flow with your content, because it's so easy to become out of flow and to make it such a difficult hurdle for us to get over to start creating content again. Now, I mentioned at the top of the episode that it's the anniversary of my book, The Power of Content. And that is exactly why I wrote The Power of Content. It walks you through how to step away from the noise, the pressure, the expectations that so many of you I know carry into content, and instead create content in a way that really feels aligned and intentional and, most importantly, true to you. And it's not about creating more strategies to follow or having to follow this 5-step plan. It's really about helping you understand yourself as a content creator first. Then you can build a way of showing up that feels really, I don't know, like sustainable and supportive of your business. And if you want to go and grab a copy of my book, once again, the link is in the show notes. And it's funny when we talk about this idea of flow, content is meant to flow. And I don't mean that you're supposed to feel in the flow all the time and it's going to come easy to you every single time you sit down to create. There will always be days where it feels slower, where you need to think a bit more, or where life just feels a little bit heavy. Everything that's going on in the world just feels all too consuming. And that's normal, but you are meant to be able to find your way back to it easily when you need to. And it means that you're not stuck in this constant state of like pushing or forcing or overthinking. And instead, you can come back to this place where ideas come easy, words move easier, and creating just feels more natural again without needing to, overhaul everything in your life. So if it always feels blocked, and something may be misaligned, it may be the format and the expectations you're holding, or just even your energy in that moment. So once again, I really encourage you to come back to MVC and do what really works for you in this season. Okay, so we've come to that point in the episode where I love to give you some questions to think about, to reflect upon, to come back to later if you feel like you want to journal and go a little bit deeper into the ideas of this episode. So the first question is, what season of business am I in right now? And does my content reflect that? Number 2 is, what expectations or rules am I holding on to that might not be serving me? And what would my content look like if it felt supportive instead of demanding? Now, content isn't meant to feel like a constant uphill push or a constant battle. When it does, it's often a sign for you to pause, to reflect, and simply realign. It's not about doing more. It's not about pushing through. It's about doing what fits, what's right for this season of your life right now. Because when you create from that space of alignment, content becomes something you return to not something that you avoid. With heart, always.